Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain nipples every day to get some of that dirty YouTube money so I can afford to provide you folks in-person technology education in Durham, North Carolina. Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We're having a class tomorrow. We're having a class. It is full. We've got 45 seats, and we actually have people on a waiting list. That is what I get excited about. I'm going to be going in, and we're going to be talking about how to use the OpenAI API to build your own AI-powered applications. And that's what makes me happy and excited. But that's not why we're here today. That's not why we're here today. We are here to pay the bills and talk about stupid crap so I can earn money, so I can do what it is I actually care about. That, my friends, is how the world actually works. So this is interesting. So we have this whole idiocy that is currently going on between the United States and China. Europe, being the good little effing lapdog of America that it is, has decided to get on board with the American side of this dip crappery. And now we are seeing basically globalization just fall apart, fall in on itself. And I kind of think this is interesting from like a corporate standpoint. The whole question of like in a corporation, who really does have the power and who does have the control? I've talked about this with being a consultant, right? Everybody knows the CEO is the one to sign the paychecks. But do you ever think about the person who writes the paychecks? It is their secretary. I would much prefer to kiss the ass of the CEO's secretary or assistant or whatever the hell they're called nowadays than the CEO. Here's the deal. The CEO is usually so busy and so stressed out, even if you try to kiss their ass, they're not going to remember it at the end of the day. Whereas the assistant or secretaries many times felt like they're looked over all the times. So if you go in there and you're nice and you ask about their family and their dog and all that kind of stuff, it is amazing how much they will like you, and you will be the consultant to be called back again and again and again, right? It's interesting, this modern world. When you think about power, it's fascinating, right? The blue hairs. We have educated the blue hairs to such a piss poor degree. They don't understand real power dynamics in our capitalist world, right? There's this idea that the CEOs control everything and everybody else is simply a peon. And yeah. These are people who have never had to deal with malicious compliance. Malicious compliance for the very, very, very stupid win. But I think this is interesting right now, right? With the breakdown of globalization, right? If you look at a normal corporation, the whole idea of, where are the power dynamics? How much power does the secretaries have? How much power does the CEO actually have? How much power does the board have? How much power does the janitor have? It's fascinating to look at that just in one single corporation. And now what we're starting to see, right, with these globalized corporations, what happens when you have the factories in one place and the supply chains in one place and the headquarters in another place? Who actually controls what the hell is going on? And as MAGA likes to say, fuck around and find out. And it appears that MAGA is fucking around, and the entire world is gonna find out what happens next. So this is with Nexperia, right? So Nexperia, chip maker Nexperia tells Chinese staff to ignore orders from Dutch HQ headquarters, right? So in the Netherlands, there's the headquarters for this company called Nexperia, right? This was purchased by, was it Wingtech or something, back in like 2018, 2019. And they make chips, they make processors for like low power applications. The types of processors that go in your car, right? For fuel injection and all kinds of weird, stupid stuff, right? We're not talking about 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer. We're talking about like 50 nanometer chips, right? Just a lot of like bulk, inexpensive chips that provide certain solutions for vehicles, right? Anyways, the factories for Nexperia are in China. A Chinese company purchased purchased Nexperia a number of years ago. And the thing is, America doesn't feel comfortable with the CEO of, think it is, of Wing Tech, right? There's something that smells a little bit fishy about that particular CEO. And so they told Europe, hey, we find this to be fishy. And so essentially the Netherlands decided to nationalize Nexperia because, you know, out of an abundance of concern, they were going to take governmental control of this Chinese asset. Which, again, if you've been following the story for any amount of time, you'll realize, wow, dominoes are in fact falling. And so there's this whole curiosity now, right? Because the idea with Europe is that this is a vital company. This is a vital, and think about this, right? When we talk about the thing of the name, we talk about Socratic argument. When you say company, right? When you say vital company, when Europe says this is a vital company for national security or European security, right? And that is why we have to nationalize it. What comes to mind when you think of company, right? I would think of this entire damn thing is basically in the Netherlands, right? Okay, they produce the chips here, they do all that kind of stuff here, so we have to nationalize that so we gain control of it. Again, like it or hate it, that is something that works. As I've said many times, right? Don't be a racist. But if you are going to be a racist, right, be an effective racist. The worst thing in the world is to be an ineffective racist. Don't be a racist, but if you are, be effective about it. Now, here's the thing, right? So if you have this company and it's all in Europe, or it's all in the Netherlands, or it's all in Europe, right? And so Europe can nationalize it and take control of it, then that may be racist and it may be horrible, but that is an effective measure, right? We have now nationalized this company to make sure it keeps producing the goods that we need for our economy, right? That would be effective racism. But boys and girls, this is 2025. You're expecting your racism to be effective? Come on now. You need a high quality educated political class to pull that kind of crap off. No. The racism we have now is just it's just so fucking dumb. So apparently, yeah, Nexperia's factories are in China. So the headquarters, all the white collar work, that shit's in Europe. And the people that actually produce the goddamn product, that is the national security concern, yeah, all of those happen to be in China. And again, it's gonna come as a surprise to any of my viewers, but China man is getting a little fucking tired of Whitey's antics. It's like, you know, we put up with this crap for a couple hundred years now. But we're just getting a little tired of this shit. And so that's what's interesting now, is right, so you have the headquarters, right? The value, but this is the headquarters, right? And think about that in the modern mind of the Western countries, right? These authoritarian mindsets. We have captured the headquarters, ergo we have captured the value. We have captured the executives. We have captured the C-levels. We have captured the marketing, the PR, and the HR, and the legal department. We have captured what is valuable. The Chinaman is just doing that worthless, you know, actually producing the goods. Right, and think about how, you know, that kind of mindset is insidious, and how, again, it disguises what is actually going on. And again, it just creates god-awful policies, god-awful, not just racist, but ineffective policies too. And so basically what's happening now is that the Chinese factories, the Chinese workers, are told to ignore the Dutch headquarters. Oh, headquarters sent you instructions? Yeah, tell Whitey no. Say no, Whitey, no. And yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be interesting. Thank God I'm a Buddhist. Thank God I'm a Buddhist right now. Because that's the whole thing. Life is just life. It is the story you put on it. You can either cry, you can cry at the tragedy, or you can laugh at the idiocy of the tragedy. As a major supplier of semiconductors, Nexperia has found itself at the center of a tug-of-war between China and the Netherlands as the sector becomes an increasing source of global geopolitical tension. Management from chipmaker Nexperia's Chinese unit told employees they can ignore instructions from overseas, according to a company statement, escalating a recent row over control of the Dutch-based firm. Right? They got the Netherlands part, they got the Chinese part. Chinese part is like, fuck Whitey. Fuck Whitey. As a major supplier of semiconductors, Nexperia has found itself at the center of a tug-of-war between China and the Netherlands as the sector becomes an increasing source of geopolitical tension. Dutch officials invoked a Cold War-era law in late September to effectively take control of the Chinese-owned but Netherlands-headquartered company, citing national security concerns. Right? This is a national security issue. That is why we're national. We're not nationalizing it because Trump said jump. No, this is really all of what we want to do. Nexperia then said Beijing had in turn banned it from exporting certain goods from China since October 4th. So basically Beijing is like, you're going to nationalize, you are going to seize our assets. We're just gonna stop shipping you crap. In a statement posted to social media platform WeChat over the weekend, the Chinese unit of Nexperia said that employees in China, quote, should continue to follow instructions from Nexperia China for any external instructions not authorized by the legal representative of Nexperia's domestic company, even if transmitted via Outlook, Teams, etc. Oh, so imagine this nightmare if you're an employee for Nexperia right now. So imagine, like that's the thing. Like if you see a news blast and you're supposed to do whatever the news blast is, but then legal tells you not to. That's one thing. Can you imagine if you're receiving emails, you're receiving Slack messages, you're receiving Teams messages, and you have to figure out which one of these damn things you're supposed to follow and not? Holy hell. Everyone has the right to refuse to carry them out without this constituting a breach of work discipline or legal provisions, it added. Management was, quote, fully committed to ensuring the normal operation of the company and will not allow external forces to influence operations or harm employee interests. All operations and employee salaries at its domestic unit were undisrupted by recent developments, it said. The dispute between China and the Netherlands over the chip maker risks causing, quote, significant stoppages and disruption on car production lines in Europe, Auto Lobby ACA warned Thursday. So remember, boys and girls, this is the fucking genius of Europe, right? When Americans are supposed to bow down with how fucking brilliant the Europeans are. Our education is so amazing. Really, tell me about your education system. So you nationalize this Chinese company using a Cold War era law because you were worried about national security concerns, because if you couldn't get these products in for your manufacturers, that basically it would crash the manufacturing economy that you have. And so by nationalizing this company, you have now created a rift between the management of the company and the people that actually produce the products for the company. The people that produce the products for the company are no longer shipping you the product that you need out of national security interest. Jesus. Anyways, the European group said it was deeply concerned about a possible shortfall in chips used in vehicles after Beijing banned Nexperia from exporting goods from China. Really? You think? And this is the problem that we have with China right now, is there's this idea that China's just gonna say, I'm so sorry, right? Oh, China did something that we don't like, ergo China has to be punished for it, and that the Chinese people are just gonna apologize that Whitey felt a little uncomfortable. And the issue is I'm going to put it out there, I'm going to put it on the table. Chinese people are in fact people. We hold these truths to be self-evident, right? But there's this weird idea that the truth that we hold to be self-evident is they ain't people, right? Our original sin in the United States, right? But the reality is we are all people, right? A little bit different. I would argue with genetics and DNA, we're probably a little bit more different than some of the blue hairs would like to say. But yeah, horseshoes, hand grenades, nuclear weapons, we're all about the same. Here's the deal, right? The Chinese people, right? They are talented. They are disciplined. They want to push their society into the future, and they don't like being fucking continuously insulted. They don't like weapons being pointed at them simply because other people feel a little bit insecure, right? Think about this for a second. When was the last time China sent bombers out of China to bomb something halfway around the world? Think about this, right? When we are told about the existential danger of China, right? You know, under the Trump has only been in office for 6 or 7 months. Oh, fuck me, it's only been 6 or 7 months. Anyways, right? We've already sent our bombers halfway around the world to bomb Iran. We are already basically sending missiles after narco traffickers. Maybe, who the fuck knows, you know, boats down in the Caribbean. We're sending CIA agents into Venezuela to do, I don't know what the fuck CIA agents in Venezuela are supposed to do. At the exact same time, we're fucking arming Ukraine. Like, think about this, right? I'm not talking about over the past 100 years, the conflicts that America has gotten into. I'm not talking about this century or this decade. This is what we are currently doing right now. We're arming a war on, a third of the world away. We bombed a country half of the world away, and then we're getting into some fucking war, God knows what, slightly below us, right? But there's this idea. Oh no, but the real threat to the global order is China, because they might take Taiwan. Which again is actually a massive question there, right? We might actually force their hand to take Taiwan. If we keep saying, you can't take Taiwan, and they're like, well, fuck, we will. Anyways, right? But like there's this weird idea that China is the existential threat. Ergo, we have to destroy our own societies. We have to destroy our own belief systems to defend ourselves from those people. And again, imagine if you're those people. Imagine if you're like, wow, this country that just bombed someplace half the world away. This country that is arming a war a third of the world away. This country that is now, sending missiles after one of their southern neighbors. This country is pointing all of their weapons at us and saying that we are the existential threat. When do you think China man is just gonna get fucking pissed, scared, not knowing what to do next, and then that they are going to start lashing out. They are going to start showing the power that they actually have. And then what happens? What happens next? As I've said, my frustration with Europe, I am so fucking pissed off at the European fucking lapdogs. Jesus Christ, right? I thought, right, with the euro and coming in with the Eurozone and all that back in the end of the 1990s, I was actually excited about Europe, right? I am so angry about Europe now because I was hopeful about it in the past. Like YouTube. I used to be hopeful about YouTube. And now I sit here shaking my brain nipples all the time. And I'm depressed, right? Anyways, I was excited about Europe, 25 years ago, because the idea is, what if they come together as this ever closer union to be the counterbalance to the United States? The United States needs a fucking counterbalance, right? And here's the thing, right? India is really different than us. China is really different than us. Europe is different, but not actually as different as the Europeans want to think they are. So what if our counterbalance wasn't that much different than us? Wouldn't that be great, right? Two superpowers that kind of sort of looked at the world more or less the same way. But what happened? It's fucking Europe. It's fucking Europe. What? You have hope for Europe? Jesus, have you been alive the last, half century? They're just... I don't know, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. And now again, they're just our fucking lapdog again, right? They followed us into Iraq. Why did they follow us into Iraq? Because Iraq had weapons of mass destruction? No, because they're good little fucking lapdogs, right? They're getting on this bandwagon of anti-China crap. Why? Because they're good little lapdogs. And so it'll be curious to see, where this fleshes out at the end of the day. What happens, again, with power dynamics? What happens with global corporate power dynamics when the Western world starts nationalizing the headquarters, like what the Western world sees as valuable of these companies, when the actual production is still being done in China? Do you think that is a winning hand? Do you think that is effective? Well, the Netherlands, they fucked around. And as I like to say, we're all about to find out where the hell that one goes. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Nexperia, basically their factories no longer giving a shit what their quote-unquote headquarters says? What do you think about the idiocy of the Netherlands nationalizing the headquarters, but, not really having any control over the factories that produce the goods? What do you think about Europe, right? Through asinine, racist, god-awful lapdog policies, that they are literally driving themselves into the situation that they were stating was the reason that they were trying to do this in the first place, to not get into this situation. I don't know. What do you think 2026 is going to be like? Holy shit. Remember 2020? Remember 2020? They were like, oh, thank God. I can't wait for this dumpster fire to be over. My God. The dumpster fire just has no end. So anyways, put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a moron. Just be a real Lutnick and do it down there in the comment section. Do remember Silicon Dojo? SiliconDojo.com is what I actually care about. Hands-on, in-person technology education that is free to the end user. We do this in Durham, North Carolina. We're going to do a class in a couple of days. We'll do more in a couple of weeks. If you want to support what I'm doing, there is a donor box link down below. And if you're interested in coming to a class, just go to SiliconDojo.com to see about the classes that are scheduled. And with that, see y'all later.